Good morning, guys. It is February 14th, 2024. This video here, I want to talk about just some things in the vacuum cleaner repair industry that I'm noticing are issues and have been issues for a while. And I'm just noticing that things are just harder than they should be. And I mean, quite frankly, most vacuum cleaners these days are just designed to be outright disposable. Now, that doesn't mean that they are, but that's the mentality that is being pushed a lot. And I think part of it is just consumers are not being well educated on what is a good option and what is not. And a lot of consumers just look with their eyes and go, ooh, that looks cool. Oh, okay, it does a good job. It picks stuff up off the floor. It does a really good job. So I'm satisfied. But they don't realize that, 3, 5, 7, 10 years down the road, when something does break, it's not going to be as easy to repair. And I'm talking, especially in the higher price ranges. And I've said this before, if you're buying a vacuum cleaner in the 300 to, let's say, $700 price range, and that's kind of your ballpark of where you're looking, I'm going to tell you right now, buying a Shark or a Dyson is not the best use of that amount of money. It just is not. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm not saying that they're necessarily bad machines, because they do get the job done. However, when it comes to longevity and when it comes to something that will last a long time, you're not going to get a whole lot out of those. You're just going to have issues and things are not going to hold up in the long run. Even if it's well maintained. Now, I will make the disclaimer that yes, if you maintain it very well and you're very meticulous about taking care of your machines, then that's one thing. But for the average consumer, that's not necessarily something that people do. And it's unfortunate, but that's just the reality. And one thing that I'm noticing is people just, they look for what's fancy with just about everything. And they don't think about long term, and they don't think about, am I going to have this for a good 10 years and be able to get parts when I need them? Quite frankly, not a lot of people think about that. And it's just, it's so messed up. And, people will tell me, like, oh, well, I have this Dyson, this Shark, that is having issues, would you mind taking a look at it? And sometimes I'll take a look at it, but I mean, I had a lady who brought me a Dyson stick vac, and not that there's anything wrong with those, but like for the amount of money that they cost, I think there's just way too much to go wrong. She brought it to me, and she said the power head wasn't working, and I just told her outright. I said, you know, this, is a good machine for tool cleaning and stuff like that, and it's still useful, but I guarantee you I can't get this power head working because it's all very, very complicated, and I can't, you know, change out a motor. I can't rewire something. It's all, disposable junk in there, so I can't even do a repair on it. And even if you were to put a new power head on there, you're about to the cost of a new machine anyway. And I mean, that's unfortunate, but that is planned obsolescence right there. I mean, if replacement parts are about the same cost as a brand new machine, that is planned obsolescence right there. I mean, because they're trying to push people to go like, oh, well, I might as well buy a new machine. And I think that's wrong. I think giving the consumer the option to repair is absolutely vital. Because, I mean, I'm not an environmental person. I don't freak out about that stuff, but anyone with enough common sense knows that throwing these chunks of plastic vacuum cleaners in the garbage every year is not good. I mean, there's so much waste, and there's so much, that just, it's disgusting, honestly. And yet, people are so concerned about being environmentally friendly and stuff, and they're so worried about plastic straws. They're so worried about other stuff when there's appliances that are being thrown out in the landfill, and they don't quite think about that, and I've heard some people say, well, they just don't make them well anymore, and that's true, but sorry, my allergies are driving me nuts. It's just, it's kind of crazy because, things are designed in such a way to where people have been brainwashed into that mentality. And I'm going to tell you that anything that parts are extremely expensive for, or you can't access simple parts such as a brush roll, or, a hose that goes from the floor head to the inlet or anything, and you can't replace that stuff, that by definition is planned obsolescence, and it's disposable. I mean, and I don't advocate people throwing it. I advocate attempting to repair something. And I don't care what the manufacturer says, you know. And I mean, especially if it's out of warranty, it's like, okay, it's not under warranty anyway. So what is it going to hurt to attempt to fix it? And manufacturers are like, well, we don't recommend that you do a repair yourself. And because it could be very dangerous. It's like, okay, if you don't know what the flip you're doing and you're messing around with, electrical stuff, then I can see that. But, I mean, hello? We're trying to keep these things running. And, I mean, it's just planned obsolescence. I mean, they obviously do not want you to fix them. They don't want you to be messing around. And honestly, Shark and Dyson are both the worst offenders of this, and especially Shark. I mean, I've looked at both of them, both Shark and Dyson, and Shark is worse because they just flat out try to keep you completely out of the machine. They don't want you in the brush roll housing, they don't want you in the motor housing, they don't want you in anything. And it's like, it's ridiculous. And a new power head is like $100. So you're like a third of the cost of a new machine anyway. And so it's a disgusting mentality that I do not agree with, and I do not follow it. Now, if you want a good machine that will actually be decent, I'm not saying these are the best machines, get a Bissell. I mean, if you just want a department store budget off-the-shelf machine, buy a Bissell. Because Bissell supplies parts, their customer service is a lot better. They are simpler to work on. Parts are widely available, especially for the common and simple models. And you can get a good 10 years out of a Bissell pretty easily. A Shark or a Dyson, you might be able to get a while out of it, but eventually as things start breaking, parts are not quite as easy to come by. And I will say, I will give Shark some credit. On their older, simpler Navigator series, they have come through and they have improved upon that a little bit. But their more complicated higher-end machines, they have not. And it's just a disgrace. And, if you're a collector and enthusiast watching this, I understand that, the collector and the enthusiast is on a different level. But, for the average consumer is not going to be on that level. They're going to be just using a vacuum cleaner to keep their home clean. And that's pretty much it. And they don't think about anything else. They're just like, well, it's working and it's picking stuff up, and that's all I care about. which at the end of the day, it makes sense. But we as repair technicians have a longevity in mind. And what I am trying to do on this channel is I am trying to educate the public about vacuum cleaners, about how much is involved, and I'm trying to steer people in the direction of trying to keep their machine lasting as long as they can. And especially in this economy right now, I mean, people are having a hard time. And dropping a couple $100s on a vacuum cleaner every year, that is a huge chunk of money that could be used for other things when you can get a $10 brush roll and get your vacuum cleaner up and running again and get another couple years out of it. I mean, and it goes for, all appliances as well, It's like, if I can fix something, I'm going to fix it. That's just the way it's going to be. And I want to be able to repair things to the best of my ability. Now, there are some things where it's just too far gone. Like I said, I fixed our washing machine a couple times, and it seized up, it burned out, and then when we tried to investigate it, we noticed it was leaking, things were rusting. I mean, it was going for 18 years, so we just pulled the plug and we said, okay, we just need to call it and be done, because this is not worth trying to nickel and dime and push. So, I mean, everything has their life, but when you're buying a machine, you want to make sure that it's simple, and you want to make sure that it's going to do the job, and it's going to be reliable. You're going to be able to find parts for it, and you're going to get the most for your money. And it's just one of those things that I stand on, and I mean, now, when it comes to getting a vacuum cleaner, when it comes to buying a vacuum cleaner, if you're going to be spending $300, $400, $500, $600, $700 on a vacuum cleaner, buy a commercial vacuum cleaner. Because commercial grade vacuum cleaners, most of the time, are designed to be serviced. They have simpler designs. They're made to be repaired, and they're made with heavier duty parts most of the time. Not all the time, and unfortunately, a lot of average consumers, they don't really see the purpose of that. But I'm here to tell you that they're built better. They're built to be repaired and stuff. And I know they're not as fancy, no. But at the end of the day, what is the purpose of a vacuum cleaner? to keep your carpets and your floors and your upholstery free from dust, dirt, debris, and stuff, and it keeps your air cleaner. Nobody's gonna care that you have a commercial vacuum cleaner with an orange 3-prong cord. Nobody's gonna care. It's in your closet. I mean, and no matter how much I try to tell people that, some people just do not put two and two together. And again, it goes back to the consumer. They look with their eyes on what looks shiny, what looks flashy, and what looks fancy. And though there's nothing wrong with enjoying that, you know, you have to look long term, and you have to look at, you know, what are you getting for your money? Because you can spend $300 on a Shark, or you can spend $300 on a Prolux, which is basically a bagged vacuum cleaner that has a metal handle, a wide hose, a metal base plate, and a metal brush roll. And I guarantee you that's going to clean better than a Shark. And it's going to last you longer than a Shark. It's going to have a longer cord than a Shark. So if you have a large home, you're going to have a really long cord. If you have a lot of carpet, it's going to be excellent. You know, just many, many things. The Sanitaire Quiet Clean line, you know, is about $250. If you're going to be spending that kind of money on a Shark or a Dyson anyway, you might as well get that, you know, because, again, cleans better, more parts available, it's designed to be serviced, and you get a longer cord, more durable parts, and it's going to last you a lot longer. It's going to take a beating a lot longer. They're more resilient to, you know, lower maintenance. But most consumers do not see it that way. You know, all they care about is, you know, does it work and pick stuff up off the floor, which I understand that, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, and if you need something cheap to just get the job done or get you by for a while, like I said, get a Bissell. You can't go wrong with Bissell for that price range. But what I am saying is, if you are buying in the $300 to $700 price range, get a commercial vacuum cleaner. You cannot go wrong with those. And your money is going to go a lot farther, and it's going to last you a lot longer than a Shark or a Dyson will. You know? And especially if you take really good care of it, those are going to be 20-year vacuum cleaners. You're going to get 20 years out of them. I pretty much guarantee it. If you maintain them, if you take care of them, they're going to give you 20 good years of service. I mean, in a household environment, I mean, you can't go wrong with it. So, but anyway, that's just some of my thoughts on these situations. And for us repair technicians, we're looking at can we get into them to actually service and fix them? Because, you know, I've gotten a lot of questions on, you know, what do I do to fix this issue on my Dyson or something? And I'm going to tell you that Dysons are not easy to work on. I mean, the simple stuff, yes, it's fairly easy. But if you're looking at, like, a hose ripped, you know, a brush roll motor is burned out or something, you gotta replace the whole power head, and that's not cheap. And, you know, trying to get a hose replaced is not easy. You can't get into them. They're just, I mean, it's just a mess. And so, if you're thinking long term, think commercial grade. That's the main point I want to get across in this video. Because, you know, I guarantee you're going to get a lot of life out of that machine. And it will be faithful, it will serve you for a long time. And most of the commercial grade machines are designed to be rebuilt and rebuilt again and give you 10, 15, even 20 years of good service. And who can complain about that? Sure, it may not look as fancy, but it's going to last you a lot longer than a fancy one. You know? And that's the main problem in our society today, is people are so consumed with fancy to where they totally miss the whole purpose of making a good investment in a good machine. You know? And it's not necessarily their fault, because, you know, all the fancy stuff is just shoved in our face. I mean, it's just crammed down our throats. But I encourage people to look at Sanitaire, at Prolux, at ProTeam, at, you know, some of those machines, because they're basically the same setup as, say, a basic Hoover or Bissell, but they're built better. They're built with thicker materials, stronger materials, and they're built with maintenance and repair in mind. And so, again, if you're spending in a slightly higher price range, you know, it's worth it to look into the commercial grade machines, because you can't go wrong. And I guarantee you they're going to deep clean a lot better than a Shark will, or even a Dyson. They just will. I mean, because their brush rolls are more aggressive, and they do a better job of fluffing the carpet, getting stuff out. And filters, bags, belts, brush rolls, super common because they're commercial grade machines, and they're designed for the janitorial industry, which is a very high demand industry for those kinds of supplies, like bags, belts, filters, all that stuff. And you can get them online all over the place. So, But anyway, that about does it for this video. I just wanted to talk about that. And just give some people some things to think about next time you're shopping for a vacuum cleaner. So anyway, please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos.